US banking system might be completely different than your home country. So I want to explain how does it work in United States, especially if you're coming as a very first time as an international student. You might not know whether to go for credit union banks or whether to go for big banks, whether to open checking accounts or savings account, what's the difference, how to manage your finances. Everything will be covered in this video. So let's go. I got this question from my newsletter community. If you're not enrolled in that community, link in the description. Here's the question. As an international student, unfamiliar with US banking system, what are some essential steps to get started, whether to open Chase account or credit unions, whether to open checking account, savings account, how to manage our finances effectively? It's a great question. That's what we're going to cover. So let's go. US basically have two different types of banks. One is small banks, which are credit unions, which are basically local city banks. So if town of Chico will open up a smaller bank, which is, they are typically called credit unions. A lot of people support it because they want the city business to grow and all of that. But then there are big banks, commercial banks like Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Citibank and all of that. Which one should you really go for? I am a big proponent of going to bigger banks because everything just works best for bigger banks. Understand there are a lot of people who might be recommending credit unions because a lot of time credit unions need people to open bank account, and because of that they partner with a lot of other third-party companies and universities, and when you open it they get some credit and all of that. So that's why people push for credit union. But there are a lot of disadvantages of credit union which nobody talks about it. So I'm going to tell you a quick story. So credit union is generally very nice. It works exactly like a bigger bank. You will have every single thing. Their app and website really sucks because they don't have a lot of big tech teams, so they're not going to manage their app properly and website properly. So it's like very junky and like it's not like really smooth experience. Second is there are a lot of limitations on withdrawal. One of our subscribers, he actually wanted to pay off his education loan and he had all the salaries in his credit union bank account. Because he wanted to pay off, the amount was more than $10,000. There was a limit. He can only remove certain amount. He cannot even direct wire transfer it and all of that. It was weird. And when he explained it to me, I was like, I need to explain it to our audience. He said, don't do credit unions. I never had one, so I'm not going to recommend to you as well. Is there any con to opening big bank accounts? There might be. Here's some of them. Number one is you might have to maintain a minimum balance. Again, with Chase, I think if you're below 25, you have to maintain some certain balance. If you're above 25, you have to maintain certain balance. Students checking account as well. So you want to consider all of that when you go with for your appointment, which I'll get to it in a minute. You can check, figure out what is the minimum balance. But there are a lot of ways to waive off that. Some of that is like you just have to maintain $500 or $300. I think it is fine for all the convenience you're gonna get. Or if you get, once you get like full-time salary, you can deposit that money into your direct checking accounts, and because you're depositing every time, it's gonna waive off that fees. So there's a lot of ways to waive off those, not fees, but minimum balance. So make sure you understand all the rules before you open the bank account. Now someone might argue that loan interests are very high with these commercial banks. Yes, absolutely, they are very high. And when you want to get a loan, go to credit union, get a loan from them, and it's absolutely fine. It's not a big deal if you want to get a loan, and if you're getting a loan, you still use your Chase account and you pay that bank your loan account and pay it over there. If you want to buy a car or a home loan, you can use credit unions for loans because they are going to have a cheaper interest rate over Chase, which is going to have a higher interest rate. It's absolutely fine. Just because you're getting a lower interest rate, you shouldn't open a bank account with credit union. Please don't misunderstand this. You can still get a cheaper loans for credit unions even if you have a Chase bank account. Those are two separate things. All right, now let's talk about checkings versus savings account. Different types of bank accounts. Like in India, I think you have current account and savings account. United States, you have checkings account and savings account. You want to open checkings account because that is like almost like your day-to-day use. Savings account is very limited. You can only have 5 or 10 transactions. After that, you'll have to pay for every transaction. So you don't want to open savings account. They literally use it as a savings, that you are using that account to save money to it. That's why there is limitation to transactions you can make. Should you open savings account as a student? Answer is not really. You should open it once you get your full-time job or internship, because once you get like steady income from your internship or that, automate your savings, which we'll get to it in a minute as well. But for now, you don't want to open savings accounts because you simply don't want to, put your money as a minimum balance and all of that. Just use checking accounts for all the transaction, and then once you have a job, steady income is coming in, that's when you want to open savings account because you want to start automating your saving. Now that you know what bank and what type of account you have to open, how does it really work? Number one, you can do it all online. If you want to do it, link is in the description. You get $100 reward or $200 reward depending on when you open the bank account. So link is in the description. You can totally do it online, or you can book an appointment, which I will highly recommend you. So you can watch this video, go to link in the description, go to the bank and just schedule your appointment saying that I want an appointment to open a bank account for this. You will be able to book an appointment very easily. So what this will do is it will avoid waiting time and all of that. You already know your appointment is 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You go 3 o'clock, submit your documents, you have your bank account open. You don't have to wait in a line, which is super nice. What exactly are you going to need for your bank account? Here's few things you're gonna need. Number one is your ID proof, which is your passport and F1 visa. Number two, your I-20. You will need some form of address proof. So if you don't have an address, you can give your university address until you get your address. And then once you get your address, you can transfer it. The only reason you want to have university address is like basically they'll send you some documents which they can send it to your university. You can collect it from university. Yes, everyone does it. It's totally normal. But once you get your appointment, make sure to update that address. All the documents come to your apartment. And that's pretty much it. You might need some initial money to deposit because again, there are some rules to have that minimum balance. So you might have to have that. Super easy. That's how I would do it. And that's what I would recommend. I actually waited in the line for like 2 hours because everyone wanted to open a bank account and we all went. So avoid that hassle because you can now schedule an appointment. All right, now let's talk about managing finances. I've made several videos, but I'm going to keep this very short. Number one is pay everything on time. If you are an owner of like paying electricity bill, make sure you pay it on time. And if you are able to get a credit card, and if you have a credit card, you want to make sure link your credit card for all these utility payments because you're building credit history when you use your credit card. And then you want to make sure that at the end of the month, you pay your entire credit card. Don't pay minimum balance. That's a very, very, very bad habit and it's going to reflect very bad on your credit history. So don't do that. Pay the full amount of your credit card. Next is you will only be able to manage your money if you are able to track your money. If you don't know where the money is coming from, where the money is going, you're not going to be able to manage it. So track all your transaction. Make sure you know where the money is coming from and where the money is going. All right. Next one is budget. Budgeting is very, very important because as an international student, this is if you are the first time managing the money, if you've never managed money and everything was done by your parents, then this is the first time you are paying your rent and all of electricity bill and roommates and grocery and all of that. It's going to be overwhelming. What you want to do is create a budget. How much is going to cost me for my rent, utilities, food, all of that. Write it down and allocate money, a figure to it. First month, you will have to understand how much it's actually like you're spending. Because first month you will not know what numbers to put. So once the first month happens, you know exactly how the money is getting spent. Then you start creating, all right, I'm only going to spend $200 outside for food. You know the by default like your rent amount, you know by default your utility amount, you know by default your phone bill and all of that. So just start plugging those numbers, be disciplined and follow those budget. Now, let's say you got an on-campus job, which is, I hope that you do get it. Now you're making money. So once you start having incoming, I want you to start like automating your savings, which means like start having some savings goal. You might want to like save 20% of your salary. So if you're making $1,000 and you want to save $200 from that, and you will only use $800 for all your expenses. By default, you're not going to touch 200. Keep doing that. At some point, you're going to have like $1,000 and do whatever you want, but start creating these savings. Now, if you start making money, I would also recommend you, highly recommend you, because you will start making money. That means you have an SSN at that point of time. So if you have social security card, that means you are eligible to invest your money into US stock market. It is totally legal. You can invest. You cannot daily trade it, which means you cannot buy and start trading it. You can totally invest your money. So here's what I would do. Once you start having income, let's say $1,000, and maybe you do $150 as a savings, $50 as an investment. Where to invest? I've made several videos. I'll put all of it in the link in the description. Go and check it out. Make sure to watch it and don't go rogue on buying all the fancy stocks. Just buy index fund, S&P 500. Some of them are my favorite. Link in the description. Please watch the video before you start investing. The important point is that start investing it. You can invest as minimum as like $10, $20. I just want you to get used to the habit of saving and investing once you start making money. And make sure to use my link. You will get 2 free stock. Link in the description. Robinhood is what I use. Very easy to use it. You also want to consider downloading an app called Splitwise, which you most likely have. It is an app where you can use that app to split the money among your roommates. So let's say you went to grocery shopping. One of you will swipe it and then everyone else will pitch that money later on. So the way the Splitwise app works is like you can create, you can add all your roommates, you can add that amount, like all right, it costed $40 for the grocery shopping, and split it among these 4 people, and all of them will now owe you whatever $10 because your share is $10. So now you owe $30, but $10 from this person. Easy to keep track of all your roommate expenses. Super helpful app. Finally, on money part, I'm gonna give you my advice from last 30 years of experience that money can break or make relationship. So keep your money accounts super clear with anybody, with your roommates, seniors. If you borrow, give it on time. If someone has taken it, make sure you can communicate that you need this money by this time. Just be very clear with money, because money is a thing where it can get messy and you don't want to lose your friendship or relationship because of money. So keep your accounts clear. All right, that was a masterclass on US banking. I hope you enjoyed it and find it valuable. If you have any further question on this topic, let me know in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, I guarantee you're going to want to watch this one, which is things to do before coming and things to do after coming. See you guys in the next one. Until then, keep smiling, keep hustling, gotta hustle every single day.